Well, hello, viewers, and welcome to our High Vibe Tribe Q&A interview with, we have a very special guest today that we're interviewing, and we came across this gentleman through the Shift Network because we are partners with the Shift Network, and we love to help promote online events and online courses to really help people move along on their spiritual journey, or just relieving stress or getting healthy, whatever the topic may be in the realm of mind, body, spirit. And today our guest is Loch Kelly. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Loch, and he's quite interesting. He's been all over the world, and maybe he'll share a little bit about that with us. But just briefly, Loch Kelly is Loch, I don't know what MDIV means. What's that?
Master of Divinity.
Oh, Master of Divinity. Okay. And a licensed clinical social worker, right?
Yep.
LCSC. Okay. Loch is also an author, meditation teacher, psychotherapist, and founder of the nonprofit Open Hearted Awareness Institute. He teaches in a non-sectarian human being lineage using an adult education style based in the earliest non-dual wisdom traditions, modern science, and psychotherapy. Loch has collaborated with neuroscientists at Yale, UPenn, and NYU in the study of how awareness training can enhance compassion and well-being. As a licensed psychotherapist, Loch has been teaching seminars, supervising clinicians, and practicing awareness psychotherapy in New York City for 30 years. He's a graduate of Columbia University and Union Theology. And we're going to talk to Loch in general about everything that he does, but in particular, we want to discuss his upcoming event with the Shift Network. And the name of that event is Taking the Mind Out of Mindfulness. And I'm like, oh, that's a good one. So, but I do also want to mention he's got, we're going to have some links that we'll provide later in the interview for you to go and check out. But there's a bunch of testimonials about Loch's practices and his ability to help people. And there's one here from the former editor of the Oprah magazine. Her name is Amy Gross. And she says, practicing under Loch Kelly's guidance is mind-blowing. You really do take the mind out of mindfulness.
Blow it right up.
And she says, you shift out of your chattering mind and awareness emerges. Clear, fearless, and unconditionally accepting. And the reason I really wanted to bring that up is because if she's the former editor of Oprah magazine, then she for sure has had a lot of gifted people come in front of her that she's had to sift through. And if, Loch came to the top of the, what do you say, to the top of the whatever, the oil and the vinegar comes to the top, right? You came to the top, Loch. That's what I'm trying to get at. So. Okay. Welcome to the Mind, Body, Spirit Network, and congratulations for your partnership with the Shift Network. That's a great organization to align with. So I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into this. And I know that you went all over the world, so maybe you can share that with us without me, babbling on here. We'd like to hear it from you.
Sure, yes. Well, so wonderful to be with you. Thank you so much, Liz. And hi to everyone out there who's listening. I'm looking forward to getting to say a little about myself. And yes, I've had a great life, a great adventure to be kind of led by Providence to be able to study with great teachers from around the world in many different fields in the universities, and then fellowships to Sri Lanka, India, Nepal. But I think, if everyone looks back in their story, you usually find some things when you're in your childhood that kind of opened your mind. And that's what happened to me. Little things that shifted. There's one story is when I was playing ice hockey goalie. I had heard a sportscaster say, he's got eyes in the back of his head. And I said, I was like 14, and I went like, eyes in the back of his head. Oh, I kind of don't know what that means, but let me see if I can do it. And so I literally opened my awareness around as if it was independent from my eyes. And all of a sudden I opened up this kind of bigger view that let go of kind of a small center and took me into a flow state, which made me feel connected with everyone and everything. And I started playing sports from there. And then I thought, well, I bet I can do it. I wonder if I can do it just walking around. And all of a sudden I was happy and connected and less worried and anxious and fearful. And I kept trying to talk to people about it, and they didn't know what I was talking about.
So this is when you're a teenager, Loch?
Yeah, this is like 14 years old.
Wow, what a gift.
Yeah.
But
so
unless you don't really know what to do with it.
That's right. Somebody, and my teammate, I was like a freshman, and so a senior just threw a book to me. He said, I heard what you were saying last week. Here, kid, read this. And it was Zen and the Art of Archery.
What? Wow, a senior in high school said that to you? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it was, I started realizing, oh, there are people who have studied this or been kind of introduced to this in many different ways. And so it led to a lifelong investigation into how could this relieve suffering.
Nice. Yeah. So were you 14 when you received that book?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get it like right away? Do you recall?
Yes, I remember, because it was a very simple book and I had already had the direct experience. So the book was kind of telling me a little about what was going on and how I felt.
Okay.
And so it was a great gift. Yeah.
So did you recognize it? Like, this is not normal for people to feel this way? Like,
yeah, I couldn't believe it wasn't normal, because it seemed so easy. And that's been my whole teaching has been, I really believe it's easier than people realize.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so I want to talk about that topic right there, because there's a little section that I was just reading that, the traditional way of mindfulness and meditation, the way we're taught, can be ineffective. You mentioned that in something I was reading, and I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that, because I can't really get into the meditation thing very well.
Right.
So I can do it in my car with my eyes open, and I'm wondering if I'm already kind of leaning into what you're talking about. So maybe you could introduce us to a little bit about, well, first of all, how did you get into meditation? I mean, were you like a serious student and like an avid meditator, or what?
Well, I had that experience at 14, and then at 16, decided to try TM.
Okay.
So I did that a little while, but
which is
like
transcendental meditation for people that don't know that.
Meditation.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Transcendental meditation. And, I kind of liked it, but it didn't catch hold. I was more active. I liked to be outdoors. I didn't like as much the sitting practice as much, but then I knew there was something essential that they were trying to get to.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to graduate school in psychology and spirituality at Columbia, and then did a fellowship to Sri Lanka, India, Nepal. And there I studied in the university, but also some monasteries, meditation centers. And I started sitting for 5-day retreats, 10-day retreats, and 21-day retreats.
And it got easier and easier for you to do.
And then I got some, through that discipline at that age, some benefits, but I also found that the calm would go away, after a little while after a retreat.
Yep.
And then I went up north to Nepal and met a Tibetan teacher who was teaching Dzogchen meditation, or Maha Mudra meditation, which is kind of the most advanced form of meditation
Okay.
they learn, but it happens to be the simplest.
Okay.
So they simply just had me send my awareness into the corner and have it look back. And in a few minutes, I felt the same way as I did at the end of a 10-day retreat.
Wow.
So I thought,
this is what your effortless mindfulness is based on, this experience?
that's right.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. So instead of kind of creating a one-pointed focus from this small mind to your breath, it is pretty much one of the principles is similar to you saying you like driving a car, is you literally open your awareness around, and then you breathe in and smile, and then feel as if awareness continues around in this way, so that you feel like you're open, and then you're aware from this spacious awareness back to be embodied and connected to what you're doing. And there's a feeling of dropping out of the chattering mind rather than just calming it. You kind of enter the larger sense of consciousness, this kind of big thought-free mind that feels eventually like a heart mind.
Ah.
So it's like dropping from head to heart, opening to this spacious awareness. And many people do what they do in their lives to experience this. So whether it's driving or walking in nature or gardening, you feel that you're focusing somewhat, but you're very open. Feel open and connected to whatever you're doing in a way that isn't pinpointed.
Okay.
It isn't just lifting something up and eating it. It's feeling like first you open to an interconnected field of well-being or kind of spacious interconnection. And how to do that, it just takes a little training. I mean, I'm kind of just describing it. I'm not quite going through it, but
that's okay.
Yeah.
You'll go through more of that, I presume, in your Shift Network event.
That's
Get a little more deeper into that. I don't want to give that all away, so we'll just talk about, so I would think that would be an excellent practice for even going to work. Like if you're at work and you want to enjoy your work, to open up to that possibility and let go of any negativity that may be wrapped around that. We'd be more productive, wouldn't we?
Yeah. And the unique thing about this effortless mindfulness is you don't have to go off to a quiet place, close your eyes, and sit for long periods of time.
Okay.
You literally can look above your computer screen or look out the window, take a breath, and then open your awareness. So the main thing is what you're doing is you're feeling like you can move your consciousness, kind of drop it like a leaf from head to heart, and then feel like you're really feeling or looking from your heart rather than from your mind. So this kind of shift happens when people do things like walk in nature or are with their good friends, laughing at a party. And the neuroscience supports this as well. So that's been kind of interesting to see that this is really like a flow state, which is the optimal way of functioning, that's calm and in the now.
Yeah. Now, are you familiar with heart math?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Did you ever take any studies what they were doing there?
I took a look at it. Yeah, it's it has some very similar principles.
Yeah. So I like to share with my audience. They know I'm a consciousness freak.
Okay.
I study the work of Dr. David Hawkins.
Okay, sure.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd love to kind of share that to put things into context for people, because this is what most of us, we don't have any context for where true power exists.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to know that the mind calibrates, at the level of like 400 on the map of consciousness, which is super powerful.
Yeah.
Because it's a log, it's 10 to the 400th power. And the heart is like 575, I believe, or the heart chakra. If it's not all screwy with, your energy field isn't off, that calibrates at 575, which is 10 to the 575th power, which is huge. And a lot of conversation is coming up about speaking from the heart, intending from the heart. And recently, you know, I understand this and I work with it because it's just kind of curious to me. And I've had some astounding levels of consciousness in my experience on numerous occasions. So I have had a similar experiences to you that are like, whoa, I'm not in Kansas anymore. You know, it's like, I am not in Kansas anymore. But so anyway, I like to put into, you know, a lot of people are talking about connecting with the heart, heart-centered marketing is another thing. I'm in the marketing field, but I've recently found energy of my heart. I could feel it connecting and kind of reading a situation in a good, it's like, whoa. And I felt the energy of that. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So I feel like I'm onto something, and it's no wonder I'm connecting with you.
Yes, that's right.
Like, yes, you're onto something here. Let's figure it out. So anyway, I just wanted to bring up that the heart versus the mind. The heart is so powerful.
Oh, it's so powerful.
Really get it, right? Maybe you can talk about that a little bit, Loch.
Yes. I mean, this is traditionally, it's funny. There's a funny story. When they first went over, the neuroscientists, to measure Tibetan monks, they brought these, you know, you ever see those little caps with those little, you know, little.
Oh yeah, like the monkey, like Einstein or Frankenstein. I mean,
they put it on. Yeah, they put it on to measure the EEG waves.
Yeah.
And so they were talking, and the monks were all very sincere, and they said, "Okay, now we're going to measure your meditation." They brought this out, put it on the head, and they all started laughing, and they were like giggling. They were all like serious, and then they're giggling, and then. So the scientist Herbert Benson, who's very well known from Harvard, he said, "Well, what's going on? Why are you all laughing?" He goes, "Well, they said, "Why are you putting it here? It's here. This is where we meditate from."
Oh.
So there's, you know, traditionally, it's almost as if there's even in the Christian tradition, Augustine called it oculus cordis in Latin, which means the eye of the heart. So if you literally feel just like you're doing, and that's a simple pointer, to drop your awareness rather than being thought-centered and eye-centered, if you literally drop as if you're perceiving from your heart space or your heart mind, it's called.
Yeah.
Then, and just try that. Just try walking up to a tree, try talking to a person, and literally it shifts your consciousness to a softer, more compassionate, more interconnected, and yet just as smart. I mean, you can discriminate, but you don't do it with judgment. You don't do it with attack, or you don't feel attacked, or you're not involved in the little battle of the little menu.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So can you just, well, I want to ask you some other questions too, but just quickly, like, how do you just kind of, how do you do this? How do you bring that awareness to the heart?
Here's the interesting thing. It's this, having had experiences of what are called awakening, or shifting from small sense of self to a larger sense of self, or small mind to this kind of interconnected mind, then I would start saying, okay, let me watch it, how I lose it. And I feel this contraction come back. Yep. And I feel, and many people can probably feel this, you get contracted, and then thought goes to thought, and then thought creates a thinker, and then the thinker goes out, and then the thinker feels overwhelmed by emotions. And so I started following the sense of what I call now local awareness, which when I'm feeling interconnected, there's almost a spacious, non-local field of awareness and energy. Mm-hmm. And that it's both here and everywhere. So that's one of the markers of awake consciousness. So then when you become identified, one way to do it is just assume that awareness is inside of that contracted pattern. And then you do this, you feel like awareness can unhook or step back or detach. And it's as if awareness feels instead of looking from here, feels your jaw from within, and then feels your throat directly from within your throat. And then the awareness, which is now the center of your intelligence, is directly feeling your body from within your body. And so it drops into your heart space, and now the center of your consciousness is looking from your heart, and now it can feel equally, it's aware of your foot and your head and everything, but you literally have moved the location of the center by moving awareness.
Okay.
So it, takes a little while. It's unusual, but it's surprising. People can get it in an hour and a half, just walking off the street, never having heard or practiced meditation. Just have to go at it. There's a number of ways to play with it.
Okay.
But that's the feeling, is that you're literally decentering and relocating from head to heart. Nice.
Yeah. Sign me up for that one. I've already felt the effects of that. I'm feeling it with the practice. You're kind of adding another, there's another bridge to how to go about that. So
that's right.
Thank you for that.
Sure.
So let's just ask, there's a lot of people out there that have common problems that maybe they want you to speak to. What are some common problems that you address?
Yeah. Well, so pretty much all of the ones that are addressed by what I call deliberate mindfulness, which is traditional mindfulness, which are stress, blood pressure is reduced, a sense of lessening of anxiety, a calming. So then with this particular form, effortless mindfulness, people with ADD and ADHD who are trying to focus from this small mind, I have them open up the field, and then they're aware from the field of awareness, and all of a sudden they're able to focus effortlessly.
Yeah. So that must be huge for people that can't sit still.
That's right. Yeah, for anxious types or ADD types.
Yeah.
Because they're wrestling with, it's really almost, I call it attention overload rather than attention deficit.
Right.
They're trying to attend from this moving mind. The mind is moving and their mind is moving, so they keep trying to focus. So I say, step out like it's a cloud, step out into the spacious view, and now be aware from the spacious view back to the task at hand. And the thoughts go into the background, and this effortless focus is able to be to do whatever task they need to do.
So it's easier for them.
Easier for them, and the whole struggle is relaxed.
Oh, good, because I can see how it can be a struggle. I can do it, but I'm like, it doesn't quite feel. I'm like, I feel like driving in my car. I can do it better.
That's right. Yeah. And in some ways, that's the perfect. That's one of my favorite metaphors. I call it driving yourself happy.
Oh,
that's crazy. Because
literally when you're in your car, do this.
Yeah, you literally do it. And then when you're out of your car, go to the same opening of your peripheral vision that you do in your car, and kind of walk around from that bigger view, and all of a sudden you feel like you've dropped and opened. You have an open mind, you have an open heart. So those words are literal.
Okay.
And so how do you find that open mind that literally feels open, and that open heart that feels great, and connected?
Okay. So this is a great little exercise for people, because a lot of people spend a lot of time in their cars.
Yes.
So could you just go through it one more time? Exactly how I'm in my car, what can I do to kind of get into this state and not hit anybody?
In some ways, I'm almost doing the opposite. I'm saying you already do. Anybody who enjoys driving is not consciously going into the first phase of this meditation that gives you a sense of relief, and you're competent to the level that you're doing probably one of the most dangerous things that we do in modern life, which is, you know, driving a 1-ton vehicle 60 miles an hour while other people are texting. You know?
Seriously. Oh, God.
So what I'm actually doing is teaching you, instead of teaching you what to do when you drive, because most people are already doing it, I'm saying use that as an example to move from a pinpointed scanning for danger mode, which looks to anxious thoughts, it looks to the past and feels depressed, it looks to the future and worries and feels worried and anxious, it tries to stay in the now and feels stuck. Let your pinpointed awareness just literally start to open your peripheral vision, which is the first thing you do. So if you just open your peripheral vision by being aware of you can even do this, like if you do this at the side and move your fingers and then breathe and smile, look up a little bit. And then feel as if your view, so even as you look around now, you don't pinpoint, you feel like you see everything at once.
Okay.
And then just continue around somehow, as strange as it may seem, as if your awareness can be aware of the sound coming, going to your ears, and as if you've opened your view in the same way to be aware behind your back.
Okay.
And then once you, and sometimes that pointer in itself, people say, oh my God, as soon as I was aware that awareness has my back, I felt like I dropped in to a kind of support and then a kind of fluid flow state.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, not many of us enjoy that.
No, that's
or
right.
Experienced it. So I can attest, as Loch can attest, it's pretty phenomenal. You're not in Kansas anymore.
That's right.
That's what I always say. You know, I'm not in Kansas. I can tell you right now. Those higher states, you are not in Kansas anymore. All right. So, Loch, show us your book, because does your book help with this process?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a lovely book.
Yep.
So it's called The Way of Effortless Mindfulness.
Okay.
And you can go to my website right now and get some free gifts if you pre-order it. It'll be out in June 4th, depending on when you're...
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Is this your first book?
No, second book. Yeah.
Okay, congratulations.
Thank you.
So Loch, is it Loch, LOCHKELLY.org?
That's it.
Okay. Yeah. So LOCH, like Loch Ness Monster, you guys.
That's it.
Or Lachlan in Scottish.
Yes, that's right.
All right. So that's your book. And now, do you do guided meditation so that people can be in the car and actually listen to you discuss, like, tell you how to do this? Or?
Yeah. So I have an audio, a couple of audios. One is called Effortless Mindfulness Now, but then there's another one called Shift into Freedom.
Okay.
A training in the science and practice of open-hearted awareness. So it's all it is 30 short guided pointing meditations. So they take from 3 to 6 minutes, and they build on each other. And if you just get that CD, the other issue, people with chronic pain, just write me all the time and say that this particular technique helps with chronic physical pain, chronic emotional pain, because it brings you into a sense of your true self, and which has a compassion toward your body and and the different parts of you that may be upset or may be hurt or may feel
Nice.
angry. Yeah. So it's really, yeah, it's a good resource.
That's excellent. I've been, I've come around a lot,
Yeah.
because I've been introduced to higher states. And
Yeah.
first I want to talk about freedom.
Okay. Yeah.
Freedom, when you experience true freedom, it's letting go of stuff.
That's right.
It's enormous.
It's enormous. Yeah.
It's like heaven on earth to have freedom.
Yeah.
And my other point, what was my other point? I forget. That's okay. So
you're free of that other point.
Free of the other point. Yes. So I also wanted to talk about, we're going to talk about your event here in a second, but I want to talk about like other things that you do.
Yeah.
Do you still work one-on-one? Are you a speaker? Or you do group stuff? Or where are you at in your and how you help people?
Yeah. So I occasionally do some consultation with people who have been doing my practices for a while, but primarily I teach at, most of the major retreat centers in the US and Europe.
Nice.
So Omega and Kripalu.
Okay.
And then Esalen, and then I have retreats for advanced students once people get a sense of it. But I try to, make myself available to help people in groups. And I just came from a big retreat. And, basically people are happy campers by the end.
Yeah. We like happy campers. All right. So not so much one-on-one anymore.
No, that's right.
But I did go to your website and Loch has courses and audios and all kinds of stuff to at least get you on the way. So what does it look like to be an advanced student?
Well, you start, because my belief is that what's called awakening is the next natural stage of human development. So I feel it's easier than has been purported, that it's not just for the elite.
Oh, come on now.
That you two are we're all elite.
The spiritual elite.
Right.
That's the downfall when you got a spiritual ego.
You don't have to go to a cave or a monastery, that you can awaken and then stabilize the awakening. So rather than just little peak experiences or occasional shifts of consciousness, you start to feel like you've shifted your operating system from this small thought-based mind to this awareness, open-hearted, interconnected flow. Nice. And when you do that, you still have all the access to information, but you're shifted into freedom. You feel loving and less pressured and less anxious, and you have this feeling of, there's a point in the training which is called, ground of being. And you feel like you open to the spaciousness and then come back and are embodied. And there's kind of a resting in not thinking and not doing. And you discover kind of a well-being that who you are has always been okay. And that is so liberating.
It's huge.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, let's talk about this upcoming event, Taking the Mind Out of Mindfulness.
That's right.
And as the testimonial said, it's mind-blowing. Or at least working with you has been. So I want to talk a little bit about this event that's coming up. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm going to do a 7-week course, online training with the Shift Network. And, I hope to be able to spend a little more time than I have today to kind of go through step by step.
Oh, yes.
the how-to.
Right.
So, for me, it's not just theory and poetry. It's really like, okay, which is beautiful. I love it. Yeah. But
you got to have the practical.
Very practical, kind of American contemporary version of spirituality, which is the assumption the awakeness that we're seeking is already here. It's already within us, as us, And if that's true, then how do we access it? And I've kind of reverse engineered practices from the most advanced systems around the world and kind of figured out, what are they saying? Why are they doing this? Where do we get caught? And then developed a series of practices to kind of navigate our own consciousness and give people the tools to do it for themselves rather than relying on a teacher.
Yes.
So this is an important time for that.
Teacher.
Yes.
You know, right? You know, I want you tied to me forever, and I'm going to charge you every month for it.
That's right.
That's a sure sign. No.
No, that's not good.
You want your teacher to cut you free. You can do
Yes,
it on your own.
and
I'm going to say it out loud. We all got it.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, so start out right there. Say, look, you all got it. We're all the same.
Yep.
And the role of a teacher is to introduce you to your own inner teacher.
Yes. That's right. Yes. You're the inner teacher.
That's it.
All right, you guys. So everyone listening out there, you can go to the mindbodyspiritnetwork.com/heartmind, and you can register for Loch's online event, which is, when's the first one? Is it May 1st?
May 1st, yeah.
May 1st, 2019, in case you guys see this at another date.
Yeah.
I have people coming in say for 2018 events. I'm like, no, that's long gone. So anyway, May 2019. And again, the THE mindbodyspiritnetwork.com/heartmind. And you can register for that. And he's going to have a live event to introduce his course. But typically the Shift Network, if you missed that, they have a recording. So you can follow up with that. And do you know when the course actually was going to start, Loch?
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, it's the 15th of May.
Okay, so there's a 2-week period from when he introduces it to getting you into the course. And I've had some Shift Networker courses, and they're all very good. And the teachers are great. And it sounds like if you work live here with Loch, you're going to be in La La Land. If he can leave people happy campers in their retreats, and I know what's going on there.
That's right.
All right. Loch, thank you so much for being here today. Appreciate
it. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you for your mission. I'm on the mission too of end human suffering.
Yes.
Okay. You know, the upside, you know, when you get in, I've had quantum spiritual awakenings, which were enormous, but if you're not ready for them, they have a downside, which it's enormous human suffering. And I want to make a point here that Loch's talking about is I don't recommend a quantum spiritual awakening if you're not ready for it at all.
No.
And Loch is talking about building the foundational basics. And this is my prayer to God every day. I'm like, God, you know what? Thank you for those amazing episodes of awareness, but I ain't ready for them because it swings. That swing, I don't know if you've encountered that stuff, Loch, or heard about it, but it ain't pretty.
Sure. Yeah. So this is the idea, is to go right to the solution of that which can bear the unbearable and get used to that loving, supportive dimension. Yes. And then everything can move. Yes. Once you feel the ground.
Yeah. I use the same, and it's no wonder, I use the same tagline. So I'm an online marketer. I'm the one who, I help people like you through the Mind, Body, Spirit Network, because most of you guys ain't marketers.
That's true.
But I happen to be a healer and a marketer, so I got the two going on. And so my tagline in marketing is understanding the foundational basics for your online success. And I say the same thing. I'm like, God, I just thankful for the foundational basics. I'm not ready to go there again, but when I am, I'll have the foundation under me.
That's it.
And that's what Loch, it sounds like you're helping people do in a similar way.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you, Loch. Thank you, everyone, for listening in.
Thank you, Liz. A lot of fun. Okay.
Bye.